a great addition to any sort of German World War II diorama. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'm going to be looking at this Masterbox kit. This is called Road to's Rear. Now, Masterbox do make quite a lot of 1/35th scale military figurine kits. They also make vehicles and other scales as well. So they do make quite a number of 24 scale and other 35th scale fantasy type figures as well. But I thought I'd bring this out because this is quite interesting in that Masterbox, they work on poses and situations for their figures that aren't always combat. Although they do have combat ones too, but there's plenty of other combat ones around. And they do add these sort of, I guess what we call it, regular operations. This particular one of taking wounded back away from the front. So you've got some really nice artwork there. Gives a depiction of sort of a little vignette that they're going to create. You have this set up next to a building or even next to a vehicle, just to make the story and a diorama become real, I guess. Now the box art is great. It doesn't give you the best depiction of what's actually included. It actually does have horses, which are included as well. And I do have a number of times where people have asked me what it actually comes with it. Because even though they show you horses on the back, it's not immediately obvious. So I thought I'd have a closer look because this is one of the better value kits that they do. It's got the cart, figures, and the horses as well. Okay, so let's see from the upper camera. Here's the box art that I was talking about. Good box art, gives a really good impression of, you know, sort of idea of the diorama you're going to be making. I mean, this is the first impression you're going to have when you're searching around and shopping around for figures for your diorama. And I think this is really full of character. You've got everyone, they're sort of weary, and you know, something a bit different. You've got the Red Cross here with the medic, and then it's just an old cart, and there will be horses as well. And something you probably didn't realize is the mechanized system of the German army. Even though it was meant to be fantastic, they really didn't have a lot to go around and still relied upon horses to get around a lot of the time. It was also had to do with the fuel shortages and material shortages. Okay, so let's have a look over here. So I've put out all the parts. We've got an instruction manual. They don't always give you instruction manuals. Usually the instructions for just figures will be on the back of the box. But because there's extra components, you've got instructions on how to do the cart. And then also you've got your legend there with the sprue, and then how to build your horses as well. Okay, and this one here gives you an idea of how to set up the reins. Okay, so we'll look at that a bit later. All right, so let's look at all the bits that we've got here. All right, so we've got 3 sets of sprue. Now let's look at, I think we'll look at the horses first since I've got those here. Okay, so as you can see, it's obviously 2 horses. So they split in half. You have your tails, and the heads are all separate. Also comes with bonus figures because this is a horse set that would have been included with just a cart set with a civilian, right? A civilian man here, seated, and a civilian girl. And you see her head there with the pigtails. So you can always use those as a spare set of figurines, or you can even try and incorporate these as well into this existing vignette. Okay, let's get a bit of a closer look at all these. Okay, so I'll start off with this top corner. So there's a girl. I'll just move the head around just so you can get an idea of just how well sculpted these are. This particular set isn't one of their newer sets, but at the time it was one of the better sets of figures you could get around. You can see how it's actually been scaled to be quite smaller, so very recognizable as a child. Got the horse there, let's put it the right way up. You see how you've got quite a lot of surface detail, got a lot of the strapping all in place. One raised leg, and then this is the other side. See the head and the neck all in one. Ears are molded separately so you can get all the full detail. So my general guide on how detailed something is the number of parts, simply because more parts means they're going to be molded with sharper detail from particular angles, but it does mean it's also going to make it a bit more complicated to build because there's a bit more filling involved and making sure it all aligns properly. And there's your male. I always concentrate on the heads because that's where all the character is going to be in these figures. It doesn't matter how well sculpted the rest of the body is. If the face isn't well sculpted, it's going to really pull back from the overall appearance. Okay, so you've got an option there. You've got the cap. So you've got the cap there, or you've got a hat. Nice having those options. All right, so there's the other head for the horse. Got the guy's arms and he's holding the stirrups. You can see there's the set of ears there. Okay, so that is the sprue with the horses. All right, so let's look at the cart now. As you can see, you've got a whole sprue just for the cart. Now, you wouldn't think a cart would need this many parts, but this is just shows how much detail that Masterbox has put into these components. Okay, so you get your rear wheels and well, do you call them tires? I mean, they're just metal straps, I guess, on these. There's no rubber on them. You've got the sides here. You've got the actual cart base, framework, steering mechanism for the front. So all in all, it's very well detailed. Let's get another close look at all these parts and I'll go through the whole sprue. Okay, so starting at the corner, up here. Okay, you've got the wheels there. So you see the inside spokes of the wheels, really, they're quite chunky and they do look like they've been whittled out of larger bits of wood. Got the sides here, which just look like a ladder frame. Get some more harnesses there. Other side of the wheels, the smaller one being for the front. See those wooden bits there? So you see how they're not totally even to give that a rough wood look. Got an axle. Some fittings. That'll probably be the front axle there. Got some of the framework. That's the base, 2 planks for the base. And then you've got that, what do you call that big pole that is in between the 2 horses? I don't know the exact terminology, but that's that part there. And then you've got the other side brackets for the framework. And then that's probably part of the steering mechanism there as well. Okay, so that's the second sprue. That is the cart. So the cart's reasonably big size. Pretty decent, 35th scale. And then we come to our final sprue, which is this one with all the figures. And you can see how clean this is. So there's very little flash. There is a little bit from time to time, and that's perfectly acceptable. It's not one of the newest molds, but it does come out really nice. Okay, so let's have a closer look at these ones. So these are all German figurines. Okay, I'm not that of an expert on uniforms, but seeing that they're wearing predominantly jack boots, so jack boots are those taller boots here, I would say this most likely is going to be early to mid-type uniforms. Okay, the headgear as well, I think is quite early. Okay, particularly this one, which is that, oh no, not that one. One of these caps is a flat type cap. Probably this one, I think. That one there. Which to me looks a bit early, but I guess if you know for certain, if you let me know in the comments below. So let me go through each one of these figures. Okay, so you've got a rifle, seated figure here. He's probably the driver most likely, because it looks like he's holding on to stirrups maybe. Okay, this one you got the standing figure. Looks like a little bit of a rucksack or some sort of stowage. A little pillow perhaps. So that'll be the lying down injured fellow. You can see by the way that his ankle is spread forward, so he'll be lying down. Okay, so he's the injured guy. We've got this guy here. It's interesting that the collar has been molded separately, so that's to get the extra detail through. And from the looks of his uniform, so it looks like he's got that sash over his chest, so he's probably the medic. So he's hanging onto the back of the cart. Got his head there. You see how the head sculpts are quite nice. And we move to the other side. Okay, so you got the drink bottle, you got the mess tin. This guy's looks like he's got an injured arm. Looks like he's all bandaged up. Got the bread bag. Separate parts for the bottom of the tunic. So this guy's the walking guy, which is in the artwork. It's just on the side there. We've got some ammunition pouches and a rifle there. Okay, and then we've got our last figure. So you've got the rifle, a seated position. There you go, his head there with a cap, a casual cap. Okay, bread bag, and then there's a set of different arms. Again, you've got some ammo pouches, and then we go back to the rifle. Okay, and again you can see the face. It's really nice. So they do go to the trouble of making sure that each one of these faces is different, because you shouldn't get any twins or any triplets together. They would just look really weird. So that is the sprue for the figurines. Okay, which leaves us with the manual. The manual is really basic. Okay, so as we saw before, this is the legend of where all the parts are. You've got the numbers here for all the part numbers. Here again, you've got the part numbers, then how you can rig this all up. You just need a bit of thread to rig it up. That's an optional extra. And then on the back here, let's spin it the right way around. We have the simple assembly instructions for the card itself. Okay, so there we have it. So that is the road to war. No, road to the rear, I should say, because we've actually been to the war and they're actually going back now. So this is depicting German soldiers, one injured lying in a cart, a couple injured which are walking and sitting within the cart itself. And actually, looking at the back, it does show the option for using the civilian as the driver. So there's a lot of options in here, which is great. And I think it's a great addition to any sort of German World War II diorama. So thank you for watching.